Hello and welcome to Health for Her, a content series by Ryderwear. I'm Eloise, content writer, and today I'm joined by Isobel Marshall and Eloise Hall, co-founders of Taboo Period Products, and clinical nutritionist Tahlia Harvey from Tahlia Harvey Health and Wellness. Here at Ryderwear, we're more than just activewear. We believe in creating awareness and providing education and information to our community on the things that matter the most, which is why we're here to talk about female health, women's health. That's from our menstrual cycles to nourishing our bodies properly as women who want to keep fit and strong. But before we get into our chat, we'd just like to acknowledge that today we meet on the land of the Kaurna people and we pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. So welcome ladies.
Thank you.
We'll start with you ladies, Isobel and Eloise. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about Taboo Period Products?
Yeah. So Taboo is a range of organic cotton pads and tampons, and we sell our product in Australia. And we're a social enterprise, so all of the profit that the company generates goes into our mission, which is to eradicate period poverty. So all of the work that we do is all about breaking the stigma, making sure that conversations are happening around menstrual wellbeing, and eradicating period poverty with the profits that we make.
We have a big focus on education as well, which is why we love opportunities like this to talk about what the menstrual cycle is, what it means, how we can look after ourselves best, but also tap into, taking advantages of the different parts of our menstrual cycle. And a lot of that education piece that we do is, as Eloise said, breaking down the stigma and making sure we feel celebratory and positive about what our bodies can do in such an amazing way as the menstrual cycle.
Fabulous, awesome. And Tahlia, what inspired you to be a clinical nutritionist?
Yeah, well, long story short, when I finished school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to help people, and after coming out of a bit of a difficult period in my life, I changed my lifestyle, my diet, and it had a really good impact on my mental health. And then the more I studied nutrition, the more I realised that we can look at food and nourishing ourselves as a positive rather than a negative. So yeah, then it led me through being a nutritionist and helping other women do the same.
Awesome, how cool. So both really cool journeys. Girls, you are here to talk to us about our menstrual cycles as seasons or phases. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so we've actually just launched a podcast called The Flow by Taboo, and we have this huge focus on asking we're the hosts with our amazing friend Ophelia, but also our listeners what season of the menstrual cycle they're in. So the seasons are kind of they follow the menstruation as winter, and that's when your hormones, both estrogen and progesterone, are very low, and so you feel that like tired, kind of sluggish feeling. And then as you go through winter, spring is at the follicular phase, so estrogen's rising, you're feeling a lot more motivated, dopamine and serotonin also rise in that phase. And that leads you into ovulation, which is like estrogen peaking. So you're peaking too. We call it your best life. Yeah. That's like summer. So
hot girl summer.
Love that. And that's when you really take advantage of like social opportunities, opportunities with work, working out because you've got more energy, more motivation. And then you go into autumn, which is entering the luteal phase, so progesterone dominant. And as estrogen decreases, you can start to feel the lessening motivation, perhaps you're feeling less social, but then that comes into the start of winter again as well.
Awesome, how cool. And Tahlia, going on from that, how important is our nutrition, during these cycles or these phases, sorry?
Yeah, so super important. I think as a nutritionist, we kind of look at your cycle as a whole, but probably the biggest thing with nutrition and women is eating enough, because that's probably the biggest mistake when it comes to women's health and periods. And then making sure you have enough carbs, proteins and fats. I know that a lot of women tend to try and reduce some of these, but they're macronutrients for a reason, and it's because we need them because they're essential for our cycles. But yeah,
Yeah, wow. And I guess when we take into training into account, how does that sort of affect it all, our nutrition?
Yeah, so kind of the same. You want to ensure that you're eating enough. Probably the biggest mistake that women can make is fasting over a long period of time while training. So you want to make sure that you have enough fuel in your body for recovery, and then also for happy hormones as well. So ensuring you're eating before your training. I know that's something that even I struggle with, but it can be something little, and then eating a well-balanced meal straight after your training as well.
Yeah, super important.
Yeah.
Cool. And what sort of advice, girls, would you give someone who's perhaps struggling or feeling a bit deflated or defeated with where they're at in the gym because of their cycle, where they're at with their menstrual cycle?
Yeah, I find the season analogy really helpful because if you're in spring or summer, for example, you've got so much energy you'd like to put in your plans, and we all have a routine, and that's always really helpful when you're training, or even when you're on specific projects or whatever. To have a routine is really helpful, but I guess our advice is to kind of cut yourself some slack in winter and autumn, and know that maybe the routine that you designed in spring and summer isn't the routine that's going to be for you in winter and autumn as well. So we're always a big fan on, rearranging your life decisions or, routine on your season rather than your weeks or your days. Because even if it can fit in your schedule, it might not fit in the energy kind of output you've got available. So just be flexible.
Yeah.
And it's also really interesting to, it's so easy to compare yourself to the people around you. And historically, we work on a 24-hour cycle, 24-hour clock. And that's also the cycle that testosterone has. So testosterone peaks in the morning when a lot of people want to be at the gym, for example, and putting a lot of energy into that. And so we can really feel the pressure to every morning wake up with that same level of but we don't have that cycle as people assigned female at birth. So what I guess I'm trying to say there is that comparison can be unhealthy and just unrealistic, because ours is the 28-day cycle. And so I guess adjusting your expectations to fit that cycle is probably the healthier way to go.
Yeah, awesome, cool, that's really helpful. And Tahlia, what advice would you give someone who's perhaps struggling with their nutrition and their energy levels, and that could be around their cycle, or that could be just in general, really?
Yeah, well, I think, as these ladies said, it's really important to honour your cycle, because you're never going to feel 100% of the time. And I think in this day and age especially, we put so much pressure on ourselves to feel our best all the time. And actually letting go of that is a huge thing. But in terms of nutrition, we can kind of look at what we're eating, the quality of foods that we're eating, hydration, our iron status, and just focusing on what feels good for you. Because I think, again, when it comes to comparing ourselves, we like to look at what other people are doing, but everyone is so different. Everyone's cycles are different. Everyone's nutritional needs are different. So focusing on yourself and how you feel within your current needs, and then also speaking to someone as well if you are struggling. It's so much better to get personalised advice rather than following other people and what they're doing as well.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's super helpful. Thank you. Well, that's all we have time for today. We hope you found this helpful and it empowers you to be kind to yourself, mind and body. If you want to find out any more about our content series or any of our lovely guests today, just check out the show notes below. Thank you, and keep living your best life through fitness.